eyes flick wide open. I've got to go to Calais. Icy wind, whistling through high white fencing. How can men, women, children sleep in the camp? Many tents collapsed, some standing. Black shapes silhouetted against a blue sky. Refugees and volunteers work side by side, sisters and brothers. Through the dark to a theatre event in the dome. Groups of 2 and 3 performing dance and movement, curving, swooping, balletic. Quite magical. Wheeling, welcoming, laughing. Touching knuckles, silent tears. This is incredible how they survive here. Smiles and nods all round, friendly. Calais town is cold, the temperature dropping.
Like near Taunton?
The jungle was more like a shanty town than a refugee camp because like refugee camps are normally sort of built beforehand by an organisation, so everything is quite uniform. But this evolved, and it evolved around people. And the shops and restaurants were definitely at the heart of the community that was there. People could go and eat together, they could charge their phones, they could watch films together. And yeah, it gave people spaces where they could just hang out rather than being by themselves. So I think, it was a massive part of life there. There was a really strong community in the camp as well, who, like, if you showed up all the time, then would embrace you. So, so there was a lot of feelings of being like connected and belonging to a community, but also obviously it's really dark place at the same time. People are suffering, people are not where they want to be. I wish that there could have been more that we could have done, and that's a bigger problem. Like we can only kind of polish around the edges really. There's nothing we could do about the fundamental problem that people were facing.
The mass aid work is occurring because we as a people are having to lead by example, because the political, monetary issues that the governments are facing with such a fundamental shift in the human pattern at the moment, and we're just going to see more and more migrants, whether it's climate, whether it's,
The day that they came in and destroyed the shops and restaurants really was a kind of killer blow to a lot of people who had like a sense of like there being a life there, even if it wasn't the one that they wanted. There was some existence of like society and life happening.
It became very apparent quite quickly that the volunteers were getting as traumatized as the refugees in a way, because we were, in some way, because the jungle was so unofficial, there wasn't that barrier between aid worker and refugee. We were living with them, we were going through we were empathizing with what they were doing on such a deep level that their trauma became our trauma. The refugees have been so used to moving and to being shifted and to being treated quite horrendously by the state that they were kind of fine with it. And then there were all these bright-eyed, do good, like wanting to do good, wanting to change the world. People who had put so much love and effort into that camp, and to watch it getting destroyed, I think was maybe for a lot of them the first time they'd really been a part of something like that. and I think it changed a lot of people.
We're a grassroots voluntary organisation, and we have 3 objectives. The first one is humanitarian aid to the refugees in northern France. The second one is to increase awareness amongst the people of Bristol and around about refugees and what they're really like. And thirdly, we lobby and challenge the politicians to act in both a moral way and a legal way in the ways that they are treating and have been treating refugees, particularly in northern France.
Bearing in mind, don't shoot me, I had more leanings towards sort of UKIP and stuff back then, and that one day in the jungle changed me when I actually met the individuals that are affected by everything that's been going on.
We're just being shown around the warehouse. We just arrived about an hour ago, and we're being given a tour of the warehouse. There's our tour guide, the tall guy in the back.
No one else understands unless you've been there or you've done something similar. So do talk to each other if you feel a bit sad about it.
I was sitting in a Monday morning meeting with my boss, and he was getting all uptight about something that just didn't really matter. And I had to really sit there and restrain myself from going like, hold on a minute, this doesn't matter, shut the fuck up, get some perspective on the world. And I found it really, really difficult for a good week after I came back, especially the first couple of days. Almost going straight back into work was worse than sitting at home thinking about it, because I had all that sort of raw emotion bubbling up and wanting to react to people that you can't react to.
Yeah, you want to like bang some heads together and just get over it.
Yeah. I did react to quite a few people, and it was like, Jesus Christ. But the trouble is, I started taking it out on myself as well, because all my hobbies and whatnot seem decadent. I'm just doing my little bit to sort out British government's foreign policy fuck up, pardon my French, but you know, just trying to do something to my little bit to put that right, you know, because somebody's got to.
When people are so consistently making horrible laws and not acting like anywhere near a humane way, like what can you even?
I just cannot see an end. It's it continues to escalate.
It's a fucking nightmare, and it's a human-made one, and it's a state-made one.
For some people, it was a really emotionally draining place that took a lot out of them, and it was very difficult for them. And when you leave, you go to something else where people don't necessarily understand what that experience is that you've had, and you don't necessarily understand what that experience is that you've had, and people feel quite lonely and unsupported. And so I think for some people it's been a really difficult process for them and has left them feeling a bit damaged, and that the kind of overwhelming injustice that we're seeing in the world right now is playing out in individual people's lives. And once you've met those people, that's a really painful thing to see happening, and it's a painful thing to know that you are, whether you like it or not, a part of that. But really, I think the more important, significant thing was just people showing up who recognise, like, oh, I recognise that you're a human being, that you have value, that you have the same value as me.
I kind of got my friend's van, filled it with supplies, and went down to see for myself, because I knew that I wasn't getting the right news about it, to see if I could start a trauma clinic there, because they are all fleeing some sort of trauma, and being in the jungle itself was traumatic. By the end, it was mostly volunteers I was treating, because a lot of the refugees had moved on. They were in a place of what did we just accomplish? What did we do? Did we help? And I think that that's the wrong question in a way, because I think when it comes fundamentally to being a human being, you know, when your brother or sister is in trouble, you help.